I was on a woman's video and she was explaining how being attractive as a woman is probably one of the most important things. And in my mind, I was thinking like in what regard? Because if I think about it, right, as an attractive woman, almost 6 foot, as an attractive 6 foot woman, right, I can say that while it may have its perks, it doesn't do anything for me long term, right? You're going to have men who want to siphon you for your energy, and then you're going to have women who envy you. So at the end of the day, kind of being mid is the safest place to be. When you are undetectable, when you're under the radar, nobody really sees you as a social threat. But the minute that you become more than I guess just become more to what men desire or what women would aspire to be in their eyes, then all of a sudden you're public enemy number fucking one. And I'm saying this to say, like, while it may be cool to be treated better by people, whether it's, for them to be like on their P's and Q's when they around you or just talk to you better, fuck, they might let you skip the line, they might give you things, you might have access to certain kind of spaces. It's still very fleeting. It's still very fleeting. And if anything should change, like if your condition of being beautiful changes in any regard that doesn't fit into the social construct of what you're supposed to be, oh, you're the fuck up out of there. This is why I say it's cool for the moment, but overall it's really not that fucking important. Like, as somebody who was a late bloomer, right? As somebody who was a late bloomer and who was unaware of her power as a young 20 something, son, if I knew what I know now back then, I would have been a fucking problem. But like I said, I had to grow into the woman that I am. And then when I grew into that, it kind of was weird that, that young men were paying me attention in a particular kind of way and girls was giving me attitude, and I wasn't understanding where it was coming from. And I think even for them, the women, I mean, they were probably thinking like, okay, she's cool, but we don't like the fact that she's giving all this attention. So she's not really doing anything overtly to cause her to get attention other than fucking exist. So because she's not like highly over sexualizing herself or putting herself out there, anybody who knows me know I was a fucking tomboy, but I still was like I'm not a tomboy, a tom girl. So I still was just like never like overly doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the young women who felt like they were in competition with me, they're like, yo, she's cool, but we can't tell, or we don't know how to necessarily hate her because she really is just existing. But whole time we want the attention that she's getting. Keep in mind, I'm 6 foot, so nobody's gonna fucking miss me. Nobody's gonna miss me. And on top of that, I'm attractive. And on top of that, like, I'm not really, you know what I'm saying, like connected or attached or really like attach myself to anybody. So I'm just out here just like a free agent, minding my motherfucking business, just existing in the world. But there are certain people who want things that you have, or at the time who want certain things that you have that you are completely fucking unaware of. So like I said, it's kind of better to just be in the safe zone. And it just depends on the region, because y'all know how y'all like to give it up. Y'all be like, oh, that's a Miami 5, but like a New York 8 or 7 or whatever. I don't play the number games and shit like that. And the reason why I particularly don't like to say like there's like a hierarchy when it comes to beauty is because niggas like different shit for different reasons, right? You'll have a nigga who will fuck on a certain kind of woman but marry this kind of woman. And really, in the grand scheme of things, none of this shit fucking matters, because when it comes to men and them wanting to siphon your energy, if they're able to, they just want to know if it's useful for them. If they get to gaze upon you, that could be useful to them. If they could show you off, that could be useful to them. If they could use you for your sexual energy, that could be useful to them. If you're gonna have their babies, that could be useful to them. It's all of these different kind of things. But I'm saying all of this to say, right? Like, even the most beautiful women. Think about Halle Berry and Eric Benet. Think about Beyonce and Jay-Z and all of these different amazingly beautiful fucking women. Before these men got with these women, they had in their mind an idea of who they might be. So sometimes having that ambiguity, having that level of mystique of where like I'll grant you a little bit of access but not too much is kind of what keep niggas around. You know, if I'm being completely honest, and y'all know I'm not on to the pick me shit, but I'm saying this. If you truly want to preserve a healthy level of attention from a man and you don't want it to fizzle out, the best thing that you could do is not give him too much attention. The best thing that you could do is not have his babies. The best thing that you could do is not be in a relationship with him. Because even if you're fucking Beyonce or you're Halle Berry, the minute that a man gets used to you, the fantasy is over. The fantasy is over. And I'm not just talking about like, you know, enjoying him being in your space and, you know, vice versa, whatever the case may be. I'm talking about like, you know, once you get really familiar with somebody for whatever reason, they tend to start to think that you're not who you are, right? Like in their minds, they're like, oh my God, I can't wait to get next to Halle. I can't wait to get next to Beyonce. And I'm going to be pulling out all of the stops to get next to these different kind of women. And the moment that she gets familiar with me and I get familiar with her, I got her. Now the chase is over. Now I don't got to do as much. Now I could kind of like slip on the respect level a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I could do shit that'll poke jabs at her confidence or whatever. And the likelihood that she'll leave me alone, slim to none. Right? Because every woman knows that eventually those who want to be in a relationship, eventually you're going to have to get comfortable around that man. And being comfortable around him is him having a familiarity to you that other people don't get to see. But men tend to take that shit for granted. Men tend to stop thinking or understanding like who the fuck you are. And they be like, no, that's just B. Oh, that's just Halle. No. I am the Beyonce. I am the Halle Berry. Bitch, don't you ever fucking forget it. So for me, like, I think sometimes the fantasy is better than the fucking reality. Because the reality is the closer that you allow a man to have proximity to you, the more he's going to think that you some type of bitch. I say it all the time. Even when Joe Budden got on his podcast and said for every bad bitch is a nigga tired of fucking her, I knew exactly what the fuck he was talking about. I knew exactly what the fuck he is talking about. There's niggas that I've given a chance to that I probably wouldn't have, right? And then once they get used to me, like I said, they get a little bit more lax with how they do certain kind of stuff. And then you're going to have to remind them. You're going to have to get missing for 2-3 weeks. You're going to have to get occupied. And I'm not saying that you got to go be occupied with another nigga, but if that's your steez, that's your steez. I'm talking about you have to let these motherfuckers know that I have a life outside of you. And I could be gone quick, fast, in a fucking hurry. All of this that you get to enjoy can be taken the fuck away. That's why I keep telling y'all that men should be enjoyed and not consumed. Because the minute that you grow this level of emotional attachment and physical attachment to them, they start to treat you fucking different. A lot of women to this day think, how the fuck could you cheat on the Beyonce? How the fuck could you cheat on the Halle Berry? Because it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. You're always, especially if you're an extremely beautiful, extremely popular, you got motion and all of the things, you always going to have some weak ass, bum ass, lame ass nigga trying to bring you down a couple of notches. He wants you to think, yeah, you cool, but you not all that. And listen, you could be all of that. You might not have done anything to shift his perception of you other than just fucking exist. And the fact that you so beautiful, you so amazing, you so this, you so fucking that, he like, no. I gotta have one up on her. Because what happens if I decide to pour my all into this woman and she decide to give her time and attention to somebody else? That's the risk that you run when you're fucking talking to anybody. Hello? But most women aren't even thinking. Most women, when they get with a dude they actually like, they not thinking, now I experienced him. Let me go check him for the next one and the next one and the next one. That's a nigga thing. That's why that's all of that shit is projection. All of that shit is projection. If I get with a nigga I like who digging me down, he spending money, he cool as hell, all of the thing. I'm not gonna go then think, oh my God, let me see how many other one of these I could get. It's not that serious. And I'm not even gonna say it's conditioning, but internally, right? In my whole being, I can feel satisfied with getting something from one person. I could. If I know that they're giving me their best shit, which everybody should be doing, but you know, if they're giving me their best shit, there's no reason why I need to be going and looking for something in somebody else. But the reason why niggas get a little bit finicky is because they know that they're not giving you their best. That's why they always scared that somebody might swoop in, get your attention, and do all of the things for you. Because they know they're not at their best shit. And they're not trying to give you their best shit. They just want you to settle. That's why I say, you could never expect a man to rise to your level. He's only going to bring you down to his. And if your ass want to be in the motherfucking trenches, that's where the fuck you going to be at. That's where you going to be at. I think it would have been a power move, right? I think it would have been a power move if there was something within these women who have a certain kind of caliber, especially those kind of women who have like an audience, right? It don't even necessarily have to be entertainment, but we're going to just use that for, you know, we just going to use that for right now. It would have been a statement for Beyonce to just clean walk away from Jay as soon as he did the shit he did. But guess what? She done watched her dad, or at least heard rumors of her dad constantly cheating on her mom. So she probably thinking to herself, well, you know what I'm saying? What, I done built this whole empire with this nigga, whatever. We got kids together, all of the motherfucking things. I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go from him to another cheater. So she stuck with the nigga. But it would have been way more powerful. It would have been women would have held down Beyonce in a way that she couldn't even understand. That would have been doing it for the culture. That would have definitely shifted something, because we know how entertainers have influence. If Beyonce would have used her influence in that moment to be like, you know what, fuck this nigga, I'm walking away. And Halle Berry has done it over and over again. Janet Jackson done it over and over again. They not sitting around sticking with niggas who just ain't cut. And sometimes, even if a nigga think he gonna get one over on you, you still gotta up it on the nigga. You still gotta let him know, bitch, this ain't that. So being attractive, like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It might get you some looks. It might get you some attention. It might feed your ego a little bit. It might grant you entry into certain kind of spaces. People might treat you a little bit different and shit like that. But we not gonna act like we don't know what the downside is to being to being attractive. It's a lot of downsides to being attractive. It is. And I think regardless of just being attractive, just being a fucking woman, it doesn't matter your level of attractiveness. Some people are just gonna perform those niceties for you. They're just gonna do it a little bit better. Same destination. I mean, same destination, different route. So even if a man thinks that you're highly attractive and then he sees somebody else who's less attractive, but he still want to fuck her, yeah, he might not do all of the things for her, but at the end of the day, everybody's getting the same piece of dick. Period. It doesn't matter. So yeah, you might sit there and say like, we might have had the same nigga, but a different experience. True indeed. But we all got slighted by this nigga at the end of the day. So what the fuck are y'all competing for? I'm not saying as a woman, you shouldn't be trying to, be the most attractive you could possibly be. And not even for these niggas, for your motherfucking self. When you step in that motherfucking mirror and you look at your reflection looking back at you, you should be like, damn, I'm a cold ass bitch. Huh? I'm having it. Titties look good. Midsection look good. Ass look right. Toes done, hair done, nails done, everything motherfucking did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's for you. And niggas get the benefit off of that. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you and they get the benefit. So again, we coming up on 15 minutes. I just want to leave y'all with this. It's cool. Some of the benefits are cool, but long term, it's very cheap. It's very fucking cheap. No, yeah, you might get a nigga that'll do more for you than he will for another woman, but he's still doing for her, just not on the same level. It doesn't fucking matter. These niggas are still gonna sling the dick who they want to sling the dick to. They're going to give the attention to who they want to give it to. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Don't take that shit. Don't get so deep in it. Right? When you wake up every single fucking morning, you make sure that you are trying to become the best version of yourself. And if these niggas can benefit, then cool. If they don't, fuck them.